iOS comes to macOS.
It's Bring Your Laptop to Work Day.
And I'm going to show you a way to get packages delivered safely to your house.
It's time for iOS Today. iOS Today comes to you from TWiT's LastPass Studios. Now, you're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether employees are working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This episode of iOS Today is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Stop letting people keep logs of what you do online. Protect your online privacy with one click. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to expressvpn.com/iOS Today. And by Hover. Express your talent while boosting your brand with the right domain name. Visit hover.com/twit to get 10% off your first purchase of any domain extension for the entire first year. Hello, everybody. Leo Laporte on this end of the shtick.
And Mikah Sargent on this end of the shtick. We've got our soup cans with strings, and we are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and you're growing the beard back, which makes me extraordinarily happy. I bet it does you as well.
Yes, I feel more like myself again, and it's
you know why?
It's all good.
Movember is over. It's December. Happy December
1st. And a happy belated birthday to you, sir.
Why, thank you, sir. You can now sing me that old Beatles song. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Hey, that's mean. I didn't think it was mean until I was 64, and then I realized.
Hey, now.
Hey, now.
Please feed me. Please feed me.
Please continue to feed me. Actually, I could feed myself.
That could be a song about a sourdough starter.
Yeah, that's more appropriate.
Will you still need me?
Because as yet, my sourdough starter has not grown the appendages it would need to feed itself. Although that is always a possibility, it is alive after all. So today we thought it'd be kind of fun, for me anyway, to leave my iPad at home. What?
What? How?
I still have my Apple phone, my iPhone 12. I still have my Series 6 watch. I still have my accoutrement. But what I brought instead of an iPad is a MacBook Pro. And not just any MacBook Pro. This is the new M1-based MacBook Pro 13. And we're going to test the premise that you don't need an iPad anymore because you can run all your iPad apps on your MacBook Pro. By the way.
Okay, that's an interesting premise.
It's a terrible premise. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. First of all, no touch. Okay.
Right.
And I'll show you what the workaround is, but it's not great. Secondly, not all of the apps that you want to use are available. It is by default turned on for iOS apps that it can be run on an M1-based Mac. This is the new Mac processor that is really essentially the same processor as in an iPad or an iPhone. It's, the kind of, you might call it the A14X, but the Apple calls it the M1. So in theory, Big Sur is designed in such a way and the processor is compatible that you could run iOS apps. But developers do have the right to turn that off. And a number of apps that you might want are turned off. For instance, and I'll show you how you find which apps aren't and aren't. If you want to run Netflix, good luck. You can't. So there is a way, and I'll talk about the way. I'm not going to do it, but I'll talk about the way to do it. So,
other than just the browser,
it's in the App Store. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's probably the case that a lot of the things you'd want to do there either are Mac OS versions of it, or you can just do it in the browser. But if I search for Netflix here, of course, there's no Netflix app on the Mac. Now, this is how we do it in the new world of the M1. Notice in the App Store now there suddenly is this new tab, the iPhone and iPad apps, but there's no Netflix here either. And that's because Netflix has decided not to. But give me the name of an iOS app you like.
Okay, see, I would love it if Instagram was on there, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me it's
Instagram.
not.
Well, let's see. It's not. No, it's not. Well, look, I'm looking at map apps. Yeah, and it really annoys me. People duplicate the way the Instagram icon looks, so you might fall for it. But no, there's no Instagram. There's a lot of Instagram support. On the other hand, something like, let's say, Evernote. And Evernote you can use on the Mac. There's a Mac version.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no iPad version. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Well, I have found a few apps that there are, but this is how you would check to see. That's why I was going to give you a chance to pick. What is something
Tumblr?
Tumblr? See, Tumblr you can use in the web. What we want is something
that's true.
Something that's just you can't. I'll tell you. Let's see. Let me think about this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that works here.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you HBO Max. How about that?
Okay.
Now, you could, of course, do this in the browser. If I go to HBO Max, there's no Mac app, but if I click the there it is. If I click the tab that says iPhone and iPad apps, should I zoom in a little bit? It's kind of hard to see this, isn't it? I'm sure there's a way to do that without a mouse. I normally do it with a mouse. Oh, well. I know I have to turn it on. You know what? Let me do that. I think it's in System Preferences. I think it's in Accessibility. Zoom. Enable Touch Bar Zoom. Oh, that's kind of cool. Cool. Use Scroll Gesture with Control. That's what I normally do. I've never tried Touch Bar Zoom. I have to see how that works. So now I can hold down Control and I can zoom in. All right. That makes it a little bit easier to see. So, designed for iPad. It doesn't say, in fact, that's important. If you look on some of these, you'll see designed for iPad, not verified for Mac OS. Can you see that? So that doesn't mean it won't run. It just means they haven't verified it. Notice that is not on the HBO Max. So by its absence, I guess we could assume
it's verified.
It is verified, but it is not designed. Now, of course, you can run this in the browser, but if I open HBO Max, we're going to see what it looks like. Of course, I've signed in. But we're going to notice a couple of things. First of all, and this is very common, if I hit the zoom button to make it a full screen app, it doesn't do it. It can only run in a window, okay? So that's kind of a drawback. If I'm playing something with HBO Max, I can watch it in the window, but I can't otherwise see it. And as far as I can tell, if I could press the full screen and look what it does when I go full screen, it just goes. It's like full screen. Subtitles. Some of the controls are available. This is the AirPlay control, right? You would think, but I click it, nothing happens. So you might want to say,
no picture-in-picture support either.
Yeah. So it's really kind of, and I think that's clearly limited based on what HBO wanted to do. So that's what you're going to also see is a lot of applications. It's just going to be, you can't, don't try to duplicate the functionality, and really quite reasonably in this case because you can use it in the web on the web browser. So I don't know. I felt like I think this is what we're going to see initially. Is there's going to be a lot of apps that are kind of intentionally hobbled, which kind of makes me sad,
Is the Ember app, EMBER app, available?
Well,
that is the app that is used to control the Ember mug. And so it would be kind of cool.
There's no
Mac.
Macintosh-based version of that. So let's do a search.
Correct.
So you go to the App Store, you search. There's no Mac app, but let's see. Oh, there is. Now, again, not verified for Mac OS.
That makes me wonder if it can work with the Bluetooth.
Okay, so that's a great question.
This will be interesting.
That's a great question. And I do want to address that because apparently, see, it wants my location. That's fine. And it would like to use Bluetooth. So apparently, if you give it permission, now my Ember is somewhere else in the building, unfortunately. This is the mug that will let you. Okay, now see, in order to scroll, I can't use my finger, so I have to use the mouse, but that works okay. You'll see on any of these apps, there's a new menu item.
Ooh.
Called Touch Alternatives. This is just something Apple has inserted. I don't think the developer puts this in. And it shows you how, if you wish, you can use standard Mac input to simulate. So Touch Alternatives allow you to interact with some iOS games, and frankly apps as well, that expect touch input. Press space to tap in the center of the window. Press the arrow keys to swipe from the corner of the window. Scroll to drag from the mouse pointer, and hold Option to use a trackpad as a virtual touch screen. So let me do that. I'm going to hold Option, and now you see I have touch, but it doesn't. It kind of works.
You still have to click, though?
It's kind of working. There, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, you don't have to click. You just... Frankly, I find it easier just to use the mouse. but it's good to know that they're trying to give you analog, so you can see the little circle that would show up with a trackpad on a iPad OS shows up here. That's actually interesting because it means that this feature, which they added with the Magic Keyboard to iPad OS, was necessary for this next step, right?
Yeah.
So they did that.
exactly.
So let's choose this Ember mug. Now this is a good problem because I'm clicking on it, nothing happens. Oh, I guess I pressed the next button. Okay, good. Now I would pair the mug, and as far as I know, and I have some other Bluetooth apps, that does work.
Wow.
That does work.
Well, now I gotta get a Mac Mini. No, I'm just kidding. That's not.
But that's a good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good example of an app that doesn't have an analog on the Macintosh, but you might want to have. I actually have several of those that I'm going to show you in just a little bit. Of course, one of the things.
A lot of those. I was just going to say a lot of those permissions that are available in Big Sur in macOS make a lot of sense because they mirror the permissions that you get on iOS.
Right.
So permission to access the home, someone's HomeKit setup, permissions for let's see, it's in security and privacy, and there are Bluetooth like that one, which was not done the same way in the past, as well as speech recognition and let's see, media and Apple Music. So some of those weren't available.
I would guess that you have to use Big Sur to make this. Well, of course you do because you're using an M1. So there's two requirements here. You have to use an M1-based Macintosh, one of the new ones, and obviously they're running Big Sur. I don't even think they could run anything prior to Big Sur. So those are the requirements. One of the things I think a lot of people wanted to try is games, right? Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can run your favorite game, Among Us. Now I downloaded this from the App Store. And here it is running, but here's the first problem. It won't go full screen. So I would love if this ran full screen, I'd be happy, right? You could even if you AirPlay it, you're going to AirPlay your screen, not the specific screen. Let's click the buttons. We'll play locally. Let's see. How am I going to get sound out of this, John? Here. Let's see if we get sound out of it. Okay. Create a game. Oh, first I have to enter my name. Create a game. So you could play it, and I'm zoomed in. If you're zoomed out, but it's playable, right?
And you can't resize the window at all?
No. This is probably the most common thing. This is why Apple wants developers who are going to put their Mac iOS apps on the Mac to use Catalyst. Initially, Catalyst was kind of a translation layer, and Apple used it for stocks and some of their apps just to show it could be done. But now in the M1 regime, Catalyst is different. What Catalyst is all about is taking an iOS app and giving it controls and windows that are suitable to a Mac. Mm-hmm. So there are two steps, as I understand it, to making an iOS app work on Mac OS. actually just not checking the box that says don't allow people to download it is step one. If you compile it in Xcode, if you build it in a normal way, it should just run out of the box. Step two would be to start making it a little bit more Mac-ish using Catalyst features so that I could go full screen, for instance, so that the trackpad would work a little bit better. You kind of want to rethink this. If we go back to Among Us,
yeah, I was thinking about how you would play it, if you can use your keyboard or not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm clicking here. Let's go back to the game. I'm clicking here. What am I doing wrong?
I would go back. So hit the settings.
So see how that
in the
works.
top right.
Using
there
the
you go,
mouse,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I am started. So yeah, you could play it. It's just not. It's a touch first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little weird to do this.
So if you held down the
Mac.
space bar, then you could.
No, you held down Control, or Option rather, and now in theory, see, I'm also seeing that weird. Is this normal? The flicker. I guess this is. I don't play this.
Yeah, that's part of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like you're in a spaceship.
I'm using the iPad controls, right? This control here to do it. The problem is I only have one finger, so
Exactly.
So I have to go back and forth. And in games where you're expected to navigate this way and then aim another way, it's a little tricky, or in fact, undoable. Like how?
Yeah.
Right. So how do I do stuff? I don't know. Am I supposed to open a door here?
No. So if you hit the settings button in the top right.
Okay.
And then choose Leave Game.
Now, here's another thing, and I should have brought my controller with me. It is my guess that if a game has a joystick mode or a controller mode, you could pair a Bluetooth controller suitable for Mac OS, which is pretty much all of the Bluetooth controllers designed for iOS should work, and many like the PS4 controller will work. So if you have a gamepad or a controller that works with the Mac. And darn it, I left mine at home because I meant to bring that. I just forgot. I would guess that if it's in joystick mode, it would work, and then it might be pretty usable.
Yeah, I would say that makes it much more usable.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Now I'm in touch mode, and that's working. So that
might be a little easier.
Might be
honestly.
a little easier, yeah. But the problem is, I don't know if I had a separate control. I don't know how I'd do it. So that's Among Us. Here's one I really, you and I are big fans of the Apollo app, which is a Reddit app.
So nice.
Designed for iOS. It also works perfectly well on a Mac. It even allows us to go to full screen, but the developer didn't think about that. So they didn't use the full screen. Now, if I click an image, it goes full screen, and that's great. So I can look at videos or GIFs or whatever and go full screen on them. But the column itself, as you can see, is narrow. But I don't really mind that because I'm not going to run Apollo in full screen. In fact, if you're an Apollo fan,
on the side.
Yeah, you might actually say, "Hey, this is great," because I can now have a Reddit column. Apollo is our favorite Reddit reader. That you can now have a Reddit column, and everything else works fine. So, I can thumbs up and do all of those things. I just can't. I can even create posts. Apollo works completely normally, I guess is what I'm going to say. So that's cool, right?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah,
it's one of the better implementations, even though, like you said, the sort of wrapping is a little bit off.
Well, honestly, I don't think the developer probably did anything. It works out of the box. Now, the developer of Apollo is a single guy, and he's probably going to say, oh, good, now I can make this wider or whatever. That might require Catalyst. That's the only thing. So a lot of these guys, I know how to develop for iOS. I've never thought about developing for Mac OS. And I don't really know, I don't know anything about Catalyst. So they're going to have to learn some new skills maybe. So it may be, and I would guess this is the case, requiring Catalyst to get things like, at least full screen works, right? But
right.
And I think that works out of the box. I think people don't go full screen have turned that off
as a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the Aviary app?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I have.
I'm
fact,
glad I did too.
Something you should. So this is an interesting point. Aviary is designed for the M1 Mac and is available in a Macintosh form in the App Store. So, but I think it's the iOS app, and I think maybe he has used Catalyst to make this work. So Aviary is one of our favorite third-party Twitter apps on iOS, and everything that Aviary does on iOS sort of seems to work. Notice, for instance, on a Mac, you'd expect to hover the mouse over these dividers and shrink them, and I don't see that working here. So it's it's interesting. This is not from the. This showed up as a Mac app, but I think it is just his choice to make it show up as a Mac app. I feel like it's still a little bit iOS-y. But what the developer of Aviary has effectively signaled is, I'm going to start making this more Mac-ish by using Catalyst. Mm-hmm. So this is really, at this point, merely a ported iOS app without much modification. But it does work. It does work. This text is a little small for me. I haven't really played with the settings very much. Let's see if we can make it.
It looks very it looks TweetDecky, which is nice.
It is, and that's one of the reasons I like Aviary. Actually, this works pretty well. So I'm going to make that bigger. Large timeline images, multi-column layout. Let's see with gestures. See, they still have primary left swipe, right swipe. So they still have these swipe gestures. Let's see what happens if I. It's kind of weird. I can't really swipe. It's doing a Mac-ish drag. Maybe if I press the Option key. No. So
can you swipe without clicking? So just, two fingers, swipe to the left, swipe to the right.
The Option key's not even working on this.
Huh.
Let's see if this has. Yeah, see. Okay, so notice up here, we don't have that additional menu item that Apple adds. So this
there's no
converted.
touch accommodation.
Yeah, this is a Mac app, but what I suspect is this is a Mac app converted, but not fully converted from iOS. So, there it did it. Okay, there you go. Look at that.
So it's as if you were going to scroll, but you just
I'm using two fingers.
Left or scroll
I'm using
right.
two fingers. Yeah. So yeah. Now I'm zoomed in on this, but
So definitely more of a Mac OS style app.
So I was clicking.
That's good.
I was clicking. So if you don't click and scroll, then with two fingers it works. Look at that. Okay, so that's really interesting.
Nice.
So this is another problem that this is going to highlight, which is you're in a Mac universe, and suddenly the things that you do that are Mac-ish don't work anymore, and you have to kind of switch back and forth. That's a problem as well. And in general, what I'm going to say is it works, and if there's an iOS app you really want to have on your Mac, you're going to be able to do it, but it is not yet a fully baked experience. You have to mentally context switch between iOS ways of doing things and Mac ways of doing things, even though you're on a Mac. And again, I think that a developer who really cares is going to use Catalyst to take an iOS app and make it more Mac-ish. That's the point of Catalyst.
Pocket Casts. Let's look for that one.
Oh, our favorite podcast app.
There is a Mac app you can download from their website, but it's not the same thing. I'm curious if they've made available the iOS.
That would be another example where there is a version for the Mac, but you prefer the non-Mac version, the iOS version. It's a Pocket Casts, plural, isn't it?
Yeah, and the space between them.
Oh, and there's a space.
Pocket Space Cast.
So let me see.
What?
That was my phone ring. My phone normally goes into. Yeah, I see Pocket, but I don't see Pocket
That's
Casts.
Mac side.
Yeah. So,
and then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so nope. I did see Castro. So Castro is made made the app available for the Mac.
Well, again,
via
this is
iPhone
the
and
point.
iPad
You
apps.
have to opt out to not have it show up. So most apps will show up because they haven't yet. Is this Castro that you mean, or Castro
On the
Podcast
left.
Player? Okay.
Yeah.
So this says not verified for Mac OS. So this was a case of the developer not checking that box. If you don't do anything, it'll show up.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be a good experience. We did Apollo, we did Aviary. Okay, let's talk about games, because that's really going to be a lot of
Yeah, people are really
a lot of the thing people want. I think a lot of games will work. Let's try Goat Simulator. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't go full screen either. Notice, though, did you see it sign me in as Chief Twit? It does know my Game Center ID.
Game Center.
So that's good news, but I can't get it full screen. I can play it. The mouse, if you click, does that. These are the controls. Let's hold down Option and see if I can. Yeah. So you're going to be using.
It's not super elegant.
Yeah, it's not great, and it's kind of hard to play, but it looks good.
That's true, and your fans aren't spinning, so that's good.
This is one of those games where it's designed for multi-touch. You really want to be able to control the goat with your left hand, the movement of the goat with your left hand, while you're doing things like head-butting and running. These are the controls on the right, and doesn't seem to be any way to easily do that. Let me look again at the touch alternatives and see. Oh, well, that's interesting. That was a checkbox.
Oh, so
Now
you have
what?
to turn it on.
Now I am in the touch mode. Okay. And see, I have multi-touch. But this
Still
is
not
going to take
elegant.
3 fingers because
Oh my God.
I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can give you the behind the scenes on this. But in order to do this, I have to hold down Option to put me in multi-touch mode, and then the trackpad is the multi-touch. So I can.
So you're using
So
two
I'm using
fingers?
3 fingers to do this, but it works.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then if you let go, this becomes looking. So yeah, you could do it. Honestly, you probably want the Mac version of Goat Simulator to solve this problem. Okay. Now, run and headbutt that goat. Too late. Oh,
so
my head's
it's not
stuck in a
as-
fence. I have some more. In fact, we're going to test that Bluetooth idea in a little bit, because I do have a device that I could. Well, this will be really interesting to see if this works. But before we do that, I do want to talk about our sponsor, ExpressVPN. If you are using the internet, you probably know that you have to have somebody on the other end, what we call an internet service provider, giving you access. But here's the thing that's a little frustrating. Many internet service providers and mobile carriers, they're your ISPs when you're on your phone or your tablet out in the real world, will snoop on you. It is the nature of the beast that they know what you're doing. They know all the searches you make. They know all the DNS queries you make. So they know what sites you're going to. And it is the case that it's completely legal for them to record that and sell it. In fact, if you look at your terms of service, for most internet service providers, they explicitly reserve the right to record what you're doing on the internet and sell it to marketers. You may not like that idea. It's kind of like if you're on an open Wi-Fi access point at a coffee shop. That coffee shop can see what you're doing. Even the people in the coffee shop can see what you're doing. It's why you want to use a virtual private network. And if you're going to choose a VPN, you're going to want to choose a VPN that takes your privacy seriously, that doesn't do those things that ISPs and carriers and coffee shops do, doesn't monitor what you're doing, in fact, can't. That's why I use ExpressVPN, and I tell everybody you ought to use ExpressVPN. They route your internet connection through their secure servers, so your internet provider can't see or log what you're doing online. But now, you should remember that's just kicking the problem down the road, because now the VPN can see what you're doing online. That's why you want to go with ExpressVPN. They use this amazing trusted server technology. They were the first major VPN provider to engineer all their VPN servers to run in RAM only. They don't run off the drive. They run in RAM. So when you press the button, and it's a simple one-click button on every device you've got, even your router, it runs everywhere, your phone, your laptop. When you click that button, it connects to the server in the location of your choosing. It'll automatically choose the best server if you don't tell it, but you can be in any country in the world. And when that happens, the server loads into RAM and runs there. That sandbox trusted server cannot write to disk. It can't log what you're doing, can't keep track. And as soon as you disconnect, it's gone. That means no trace of you remains. That is exactly what you want. In fact, they have had this audited by PricewaterhouseCoopers. That is the gold standard. This is why you really want to use ExpressVPN. PwC said, yep, trusted server works exactly as designed. They can't log. No wonder CNET, Wired, named ExpressVPN the #1 ExpressVPN in the world. It's why I use it. You want a server that protects your privacy, and that ain't your ISP. That's ExpressVPN. Stop letting people keep logs of what you do online. Protect your security online. And if you want to surf to England and watch Doctor Who on Netflix England, you can do that too. And it's fast. It's so fast you can watch HD video. ExpressVPN.com/iOS today. We've got a great offer for you. When you sign up for a year, you'll get 3 months free. And I got to tell you, that brings the cost down to below $7 a month. That's a very fair price. You don't want a free VPN because you know why? They're going to log. That's how they pay for the whole service. You don't want a cheap one. But I think ExpressVPN is priced right, especially when you use our offer. ExpressVPN, EXPRESS, VPN.com/iOS today. Please use that address because you're going to get 3 extra months free, and it's going to let them know you saw it here, and that's really important to us. It really helps the show. ExpressVPN.com/iOS today. It's the only one I use. All right, so let's do some Bluetoothing.
All right.
Bluetoothing. So there's a few things that I wanted to do on my Macintosh for a long time, but I couldn't because there was no app to do it. And okay, now these are just silly examples, but I'm going to show them to you anyway. The first one is monitor my smoker. I have a Traeger, and it uses Bluetooth, and I am able to now monitor Baby Got Brisket from... That's the name. You got to give it a name. It's offline right now. Baby Got Brisket's fast asleep. She was busy on Thanksgiving. But I can now monitor it and leave this running. And this is a perfect use for an iOS app on your Mac. I can leave this running on my Mac. You know, I don't want to have to leave it running on my phone necessarily. I might not be around my phone. And I can monitor my smoke from the Mac. That's awesome. Another silly example. My June oven, you know, that is the one that is a internet-connected oven. Same thing. I can see what's cooking. I can preheat the oven from here from my Mac. I can get pictures of what's cooking. You want to see my English muffin from earlier today? You can. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And it even asks you how did everything go. Took me 11 minutes. No, that's not right. 11 minutes to cook my English muffin? Okay, maybe this isn't working because I'm not getting the image.
It's like,
you don't want to see your English muffin from today. Wait a minute. I can't read this tiny print. This is the only drawback. Rate this cook session. Mostly you can see all I do is use it as a toaster. Okay, here, Brussels sprouts. Let's see how. There's the Brussels sprouts a cooking.
Did you read that piece about Brussels sprouts?
I did. I sent it to Lisa.
Yeah.
Because she didn't like Brussels sprouts when she was a kid. She said, my mom, look, you can see them cooking. She said, my mom made them. They were awful. I said, well, Lisa, you're not eating your mother's Brussels sprouts. This is a new kind of Brussels sprouts, specifically bred to eliminate the bitterness that Brussels sprouts are famous for. So 31 minutes to cook our Brussels sprouts. Here's the chart. This is our June oven.
Nearly 500 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Those
well, you really
boys.
want to crisp them, right? You really want to get them. That's why she likes them. Oh, all done. Bye-bye, Brussels sprouts. So look at that. Isn't that fun? You know what? My
That is
English
fun.
muffin was this morning. It probably didn't get uploaded to the server yet. Let's see if we have a. Yeah, here's yesterday's
there you
English
go.
muffins. Okay, so as far as I can tell, that's fully working. It was not designed for the Mac. It's an iOS app that works. The Bluetooth works. The Wi-Fi works.
Even the video.
Even the video
Yeah, it's all
works.
loading.
Is that a wild? And here's another wild thing. And again, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to an iOS developer because full screen does work on this, even though you don't really need full screen. There's really no reason.
Now that is interesting.
Yeah, I suspect it's something built in. I don't know. Something built into you might want to go full screen when you're looking at the recipes. Look how nice that looks.
Oh, that's just gonna make me hungry.
I know. So, thank you for doing it right. June oven. Isn't that wild?
That is cool.
Now, I think if you do it right, it's going to work better than you think. For instance, who would be better at iOS development than Bill Atkinson, right? The guy who created the Macintosh quick draw routines, wrote Mac Paint, wrote HyperCard. Here's a guy who really knows how to develop. But this is an app he has abandoned. He doesn't do anymore. It's called PhotoCard. Full screen is supported. Look at that.
Wow.
The functionality of it is fully supported. I can write, oops, I'm doing that's an example of the Mac getting a different input because I swiped.
Yeah, context switching is kind of
It's
difficult.
going to be hard. Let's see. But you can flip the picture. All of the stuff at PhotoCard works, even though this is a 2-year-old app. Bill has decided, he doesn't want to do it anymore. So you could still do the emails, but he doesn't do the printing anymore. The app's available. But the point is, a 2-year-old app hasn't been updated in 2 years, works fine on the Mac. It even goes full screen. It even has all the fonts. I can look back and see my previously sent postcards. I can, this is fantastic. Has all the fonts available. It's all there. And it's my guess that Bill Atkinson knows what the hell he's doing in development and did this fully Macintoshy. I mean, fully iOS-y. He followed the rules, okay?
Right. So, yeah, if you stick to the basic principles of iOS and don't do anything funny business, then it's easy to sort of bring it over.
And it works. I can even choose from my photo library. Look at this. These are photos. It's a little small, but if I go full screen, it'd probably be all right. But these are photos from my iOS photos library. So this is an example of, I think, just using completely normal iOS tools, you're going to be okay. It's going to go to the Mac, and it's going to be pretty usable.
A photo editing app, so not something as full featured as Pixelmator Pro, but I'm thinking of one that's sort of got filters, and you mostly just. I'm trying to think of one to actually suggest because there are lots.
Well, the good
of them,
news is, this would be a good example. So Pixelmator, which I'm a big fan of, right, has Pixelmator Pro on the Mac. What it doesn't have is Pixelmator Photo on the app. So let's see. That's a good question. Boy, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I would really love Pixelmator. So let's search for Pixelmator. And when we're looking on the Mac, we see Pixelmator Pro, but we don't see Pixelmator Photo. Let's see if now I'm suspecting they turned it off. So you cannot load it. I wish we could. Because that is an app that works so nicely on iOS that I wish they'd make available on the Mac, but they haven't. Many of the features are built into Pixelmator Pro. In fact, Pixelmator Pro is M1 native. These guys really have kept up with the technologies, and that's why I'm not surprised that they also kept up with the fact that they can check a box on Xcode and say, no, don't allow Leo to download it on his Mac. What's another good photo editor? There's quite a few. Snapseed. Let's try Snapseed. Because Snapseed, which was the great free
Afterlight. Okay,
you want Afterlight?
That's actually Afterlight's a good one on the.
Let's see. I'm going to download it. It says, notice, designed for the iPad, but it does not say not tested on the Mac,
certified.
which is a good thing. So this is a good example of the onboarding experience. Afterlight would like to access your photos. So it's actually doing the Mac allow access to photos. I'm getting notifications. Let's see if it'll go full screen. It does. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's reading which ones are
boys
raw.
and girls, children of all ages. It seems to be working completely as one would expect, but it's working on a Macintosh. It does. I do feel like since it said it didn't say it wasn't tested on a Mac, that the Afterlight folks have. Now I can't use the arrow, but I can use 2-finger swipe to go from picture to picture. So that's a good. Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? I don't know what the hell duck that is, but he's happy to be in.
What's
the tree.
it doing on a tree? That's weird.
You know what? The bird lovers in our audience will know.
They're probably like, ducks are always in trees, you fool.
You fool.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, isn't it, that duck? I don't know what he's doing up there. Is that a duck? Is it a goose? I don't know. I don't know.
Is it a penguin?
Is it a penguin? What's he doing in the tree, you might ask?
What is that?
Why are you in a tree?
Doing in that tree?
And what are you doing with your wings? He's airing his wings out.
Look at those little flappers.
There was a whole bunch of them up in that tree. I don't know what was going on there. So I took so many pictures because there's more. There's some other ones.
Wow.
What are they doing
in the
up
world?
there?
Maybe it's not a duck.
Chat room, what is it? They're resting their wings.
Kind
They're
of
tired.
bird is this?
There was a whole flock of whatever these are. It's orange bill. Doesn't that mean it's a duck? I don't know.
And look at the feet. They have like swimming
orange
flippers.
Feet, yeah. But they got up in the tree. Oh, there's my wife. So you're okay. That's a good example. Afterlight.
Can you
works.
edit though? Afterlight's supposed to be able to be a photo editor. It's a photo filter app. Where are the options to edit the filters?
Well, there's little buttons down here. Use. Here. They're
that's
tiny.
Yep.
They're tiny.
Yeah,
but I can
so
do
it's
it.
not quite.
Well, it's not too bad.
It's just you'd want them to be bigger, I would think. So that's kind of. But look, there are all the filters.
It's all working.
Ooh, I like that one.
Ooh, which one?
That looks so old school.
I know. Yeah, Afterlight. Oh, I'm glad you suggested this. I am.
And it had the raw tags next to the photos, so it can read those,
So it seemed to work
which is good.
exactly as on iOS. And as far as the controls go, it seems to be okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is good. Thank you for suggesting that one. That's a good example. I was going to.
What happens if you try to? Go ahead.
I want to. So speaking of photography, Sony makes a program called Imaging Edge Mobile that allows you. And this I haven't tried this yet, so I brought my camera in. And the idea is this allows you to pair and pull your images from your camera. So I thought we'd do this together. Now they don't offer this on the Mac. On the Mac, you're supposed to take the card out and use a card reader and all that stuff. But I really like this feature. So let's connect with a new camera. Now this is going to be problem number one. It wants me to scan a QR code. I don't know.
Yes. See, this is what I was about to ask.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, let's see.
It might pull it up on the webcam.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Scan key easily performs Wi-Fi connection. Yeah. Okay. Allow it access to the camera. Yeah. Ah! Okay. So now what I have to do is let's get this. So I'm going to go to my menu on my camera, and this is what you would do with the iPad, and it's actually a really good technique I've always used for on the iPad to get photos off of my fancy cameras. Now, I have a Leica.
No one's going to be able to hack your camera, right?
No.
Okay, it's not like Wi-Fi as well.
You'd have to be on the same network. John could in the other room. Leica, which also has a similar app, has blocked it. So Sony hasn't yet. I presume they could at any point do that. So we're going to select on the smartphone what pictures to download. So now it's going to pull up, I think it's going to pull up a QR code here. Oops, I just killed it. Yeah, I just killed it. I pressed a button. Sorry. Send a smartphone. Select on smartphone. Okay, don't press a button, Leo. There's the QR code. Let's see if we can get it. It worked. If the app cannot connect to the camera, you can do it manually. Oh, okay. But I think it did. Okay.
Oh, that looks like an error.
That doesn't look good, does it? Let's see what happens. Position the QR code in the middle of the screen. Yeah, maybe it doesn't. This part does not work.
Darn.
Yeah, that would have been fun, huh?
Although you can manually connect it says. So maybe
So I'll do the manual.
that it should be able to connect.
I'll do the manual. So that's what is all this? We're
I think
sorry
it sends
for the inconvenience.
an error.
Yeah. We're sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. So I am going to connect manually. So let's cancel that out. All right. Whoa. Okay, maybe this isn't going to work.
Oh, the app crashed.
Okay, that was a test. I wanted to do it in the real time.
It was a good test.
It would have been really nice if it worked. Now I see why Leica has blocked theirs from downloading on Macintosh. That would be a really nice, easy way to copy my photos off using Wi-Fi. Like I said, I do that with the iPad. And the truth is, I do it with the iPad into iPhotos, and then iPhotos syncs to iCloud, and I'm able to get it on the Mac. So I guess it's not the end of the world. Here's another one I always wanted on my Macintosh. And that's Authy. That's my authenticator app, right? You can run it as a Chrome extension. It'll run on the Macintosh. But here it is running as an iOS app on my M1. It runs perfectly. It runs perfectly. So I can get my tokens. So this is fantastic. I have it protected by being encrypted. I had to log in with my phone number. I decrypted it. It all worked, and I am now able to have. Now I have an authenticator app. This is a perfect example. Somebody's saying, "What about Audible?" I think that's a good question.
Okay,
we'll do one more, and then we'll wrap it up. But I think
I've got one more after that.
Okay, so let's start with Audible.
Let's do Audible.
And as you know, Audible does have an iOS app, but doesn't have a Mac app. Let's see here. Oh, Amazon Smart, they blocked it. Oh. Okay, so what's yours?
Mine is literally any photo, like any camera app, because I'm curious, our iOS devices come with built-in cameras. You can take photos.
Oh, you mean like Halide
Pro Camera. Yeah, Halide or Pro Camera or one of those other.
That would be dopey because I'd have to be using.
It would be dopey. I just want to see what it does.
Halide's smart enough. Let's see. Pro Camera.
Yeah.
Halide blocks it. Pro Cam, manual control camera. Okay. That's not the one you were thinking of, but.
No, but this is fine.
Not verified for Mac OS. Let's authenticate. By the way, I love the fingerprint reader for that. Now let's open it. Let's see what we're going to get. Camera. Okay, these are all the permissions. Yeah, you can access the camera. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, you can access the photos. Sure. Notifications. Yeah. Yeah.
They pop up in the right place.
Yeah, they pop up in the right place. I don't want notifications. Location. Let's see. Yep, you can use my location. Okay, let's use it.
Wow, that's so interesting. I just wanted to see what it would do. Yeah.
I now have a. Do I have a picture? I do. This is my camera roll. It's sideways. That's weird. Okay, I don't know why it's sideways. But it worked.
Wow.
It's the terrible 720p camera on the Mac, but it worked.
But it worked.
So that's just really more an oversight. I think if
yes,
most people who make camera apps have probably checked the box saying, yeah, no, don't download that. And I'm sorry that Audible doesn't work. Now, the good news with Audible, of course, is you just go to the website. You can listen to any book right from the website. You don't need a special app for Audible. In fact, I prefer that because I don't have to download. I can stream the book directly from the website. So on the Mac, I don't think Audible is much needed. I love it that I can run Authy. And I'm imagining, unless Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator disabled it, those would work fine too. But that's why another reason to recommend Authy. By the way, from Twilio, one of our sponsors. because it works. It's so nice without having to install Chrome and a Chrome extension to be able to run Authy on the desktop. That is a nice feature. That probably, of all the things I've shown you, is the one I'm most excited about, oddly enough. But it's a perfect example of an app that's available on iOS. And there's a reason why, it's kind of focused on iOS, because it's two-factor. It's something you have, your iPhone. And so the fact that I can now put this on my desktop is going to save me a huge amount of time, because how many times do I log into a website that says, all right, what's your two-factor? I have to go to the other room and get my phone and look it up. Now I can do it directly on the laptop. I think that's really, really good news. So kind of fun.
Very fun.
You know what? You added another one we should check. Instagram. Okay, you're going to take odds whether you can install Instagram?
I'm going to guess that Facebook did not do an oversight. I'm going to guess that
you're
Instagram
thinking
is
that
not
Instagram
available.
folks go, what, are you nuts? Okay, drum roll, please. Check the box. iPhone and iPad apps. Oh, wait a minute. We already did this. We did this twice.
Yeah, we did. I was playing along because I couldn't remember if we did that before the show. So.
We did it twice.
Yeah. I thought it was before the show.
Oh, somebody's saying there is a Mac OS app for Authy. Oh, okay. Never mind. I was excited. No, I'm not anymore. Yeah. Actually, that kind of rings a bell that there is. We got news. We're going to do the news in just a second. But first, let's talk about our great sponsor, the folks at Hover. That's where I register all my domain names. It's where we all do. In fact, it really cracked me up. Steve Gibson, who was on one of those, legacy domain registrars, and it was just a terrible experience. This was a few years ago. He said, I'm going to find a new one. And he went on Twitter and said, what do people recommend? And he came back and he said, everybody said Hover's the best. And I said, Steve, I've been telling you that for years. Hover is the best. We're big fans. It's where I register all my domain names. Having a custom domain name is really the next level that everybody should aspire to for a lot of things. For your business, for your email, of course for your website. And if you're creative, you don't have to choose. I think some creatives go, I don't want to be a .com, a .net. How boring. Hover has over 400 custom domain name extensions. Yes, they work. They're all official, but you can't get them everywhere, including .design. So if you're a designer, I could totally see Mikah.design, the perfect domain extension. And that could be not just for a designer. It could be an architect, a musician, an interior designer. Hell, it could be a potter. Leo's Clay Designs, right? At leo.design. Your creative endeavors can be displayed using .design, and with Hover, you can create a domain name that communicates to your audience exactly what you do. I love these custom TLDs, these new TLDs, top-level domains. That's what those things after the dot are, because they really... I'm so glad they expanded this. First of all, we were running out of good names on .com, .net, .org. There just weren't any other domains left. I can't get Leo in any of those, but I could get Leo.ninja. I could get Leo.pizza. So there are some really fun ones out there. I use .email for my email. That's a fantastic one. If you're looking to rebrand and share the background behind all your new elements, .design is a great choice to help you tell your story. And what I love about Hover is, beside the fact they have these great TLDs, it's really easy to buy one. There's not 100 upsell pages saying, well, would you like hosting with that? Would you like email with that? No, none of that. You just say, I want this domain. They say, fine. Who is privacy? They know you want that. The other guys, that's another checkbox and another fee. Hover builds it in at the price, because they know you want that. That's the thing where if you have a domain name, you have to give it an address and phone number associated with it. If you're not doing it with a business address and phone number, that's what I use, then you've got the issue. You might be giving out your personal phone number and your personal home address. Who has privacy protects that, because that is public record. So now when somebody searches, well, who owns this domain name? It goes to their Who Is Privacy domain and says, if you want more information, email us and blah, blah, blah. Pick the service you want to use. Build and host your website. Hover Connect makes it very easy. They don't do hosting, but they do make it easy for you to use WordPress or Squarespace or a whole huge raft of services. I also love the fact that their DNS management console is easy to use. I am often changing DNS settings. Sometimes I have a server running out of the house or out of the office here, and I want to have that domain point there. That's how I do my Minecraft servers. My Minecraft servers have a custom domain name, and I just tell Hover, when people hit that, you're not hosting it, just refer them to the hosting service, which is over here in the office. And by the way, the tech support at Hover is fantastic. So if you ever have any questions or you can't figure something out, they will walk you through it. And they don't do the upsell. They're Canadian. They're nice. They just work hard to help you. Clean and easy to navigate user interface. You should always visit hover.com every month because there are always these new monthly sales. In fact, I should see what the sale is on this month. It's really fun. I have to admit, though, I probably shouldn't because we both do this, right? We go, I really should have Leo.Republican. Why don't I have Leo.Republican? So right now, design is a great deal. That's the big sale of the month. Oh, that explains why we're talking about it. .club is a little bit of a less sale, but that's a good one for your book club, your book group, your Moose Lodge. I think Hover is just a fantastic choice for anybody. And if you want .design, this is the time to do it. It's a lot off. Design your talent. Boost your brand's awareness with the perfect domain name with .design. Go to hover.com/twit. And please do that. One, you'll get 10% off your first purchase of any domain name extension, and that's for a whole year. But two is you're letting them know you saw it here, and that really helps us. It's a big, important thing. Hover.com/twit. Get that 10% off. That's your reward. Our reward is you're watching the show. We appreciate it. We thank Hover so much for supporting iOS today. News time.
Ta-da! It is time for the news. Up first, in light of the global pandemic, Apple has sort of, I don't know how to put it. They've updated their partnership with Red, which of course is the organization that has funded HIV and AIDS treatment programs. So up to this point, product Red devices that you purchased would, a portion of those proceeds would be used to fund HIV and AIDS treatments. But Apple says now through June 30th, Apple is working with Red to redirect 100% of eligible proceeds from those purchases to the Global Fund's COVID-19 response. So, essentially, by purchasing product Red products,
I want a Red band. That's what I'm going to get.
Yes, that's on the list. So as you scroll through, you can see all the different
Red
phones,
stuff. Honestly,
and then the leather casings.
Bono knew what he's doing when he chose the color red because all of this red stuff looks so slick. Just beautiful.
It is pretty slick.
And when you get it, you're benefiting. At first it was HIV/AIDS. Now it's also global relief for COVID-19, which I think is really, really important,
Yep, there are the bands. There's the Sport Loop, Solo Loop, Braided Loop.
There's also this hook and loop, the Solo Loop. But the one I really want is that's
the
not
Solo.
The braided. That's the Solo. That's the
Sport Loop
rather. Okay.
But the braided Solo Loop is my favorite band.
Is it?
Of all time. Yeah. So
you're not alone. That's everybody's saying that's the one to get.
But you have to size nice. I haven't taken it off. Correct. And I haven't taken it off since I got it. So I went into the Apple store. I had to do a return. And while I was there, they brought over a few different sizes so that I could figure out my size. I wear the smallest size they have available because I have very small wrists. But I have not taken this thing off since I've gotten it. I haven't switched it out for any other band.
So it's kind of stretchy, right?
Yeah, it's very stretchy, and it just fits the wrist so well, and it's just easy to put on in the morning and take off whenever I need to. It's comfortable.
Would the red red look good with the gold, you think?
Oh, red and gold, absolutely.
That'd be pretty.
It's especially festive too, Leo.
It's festive.
Yeah,
Festivus for the rest of us. Okay, That's a good suggestion. I'm excited, and it's for a good cause. What
Absolutely.
percent of the proceeds are they donating? Did they say
100% of the
What?
proceeds.
what?
Yes.
They're not.
Yes. Now through June 30th.
Oh, for the next 6 months. 7. Oh, that's cool. All right. Thank you, Apple. I'm not going to order it right now because I have to measure. Right. Very important.
Yes, definitely measure so you can get the right one. And then another bit of Apple news. I thought this was good for folks who are making purchases. There is a website now where they have listed the dates by which you should order products if you want to get them in time for the holiday season. So some of them have already passed. For example, the iPhone 12 Pro, you would have needed to order it by November 24th if you wanted to get it in time for the holiday season to come around. And some of them are a lot later. So for example, you can order an Apple Watch Series 6 by December 22nd and still get it by the 24th. So while, maybe you are in the market for getting a product, and one example of that is the iPad, just the plain old standard iPad, you needed to have ordered it by November something. November 24th. So it's very clear that some of these products are selling out. And I think that that's more what's interesting about this to me is like what products are most popular during the holiday season. We can kind of tell a little bit by what the order by dates are on these products.
Nice. Yeah.
And then there's also an extended return period. So if you get your order during the holiday, you have until January 8th of 2021 to put in a return.
Cool.
So it's a little bit longer than normal.
Cool.
Last but not least, I think is something that, we talk about on the show kind of regularly when we talk about the water resistance of the iPhone.
Oh, they got a little bit of trouble for that, didn't they?
Yes. We know it's not an invite for you to throw your phone into the bottom of a lake whenever it says it's water resistant. But Apple has been fined $12 million in Italy, or rather by Italy, for unfair claims about iPhone water resistance is what what they have been accused of. So it says that a number of the products were marketed or advertised as water resistant. However, messages did not clarify that these claims were true only in the presence of specific conditions. And then more so, that the disclaimer, the guarantee does not cover damage caused by liquids, was considered likely to deceive consumers. So basically they were saying that along with the fact that, in lab tests, these things were this amount of water resistant, that doesn't speak to actual water resistance in the real world.
I have to agree with this. I wish it weren't such a slap on the wrist. $12 million for Apple is the interest from 1 second, probably, or less on their billions. But I do feel like Apple really implies that these are waterproof. And I know a lot of people who were taken aback when Apple said, no, the warranty does not cover water damage. They're not waterproof. So I think this is appropriate.
Yeah, so, okay.
We know because we've dealt with it. But I think it's not commonly known. People assume, oh, no, I could jump in the swimming pool with this and not worry about it. I think people take it underwater and take pictures.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess, yeah. No, that's fair. I don't know. I guess I never expected, you're right. Never mind. It's because we know. Because I was going to say,
yeah, we know.
I never expected that if I got it wet that I was going to get it replaced. But it's because I can remember going into an Apple store and seeing them shine the little light into it to look for the light. So yeah, it's just because I know.
Yeah, we had that experience. And we know there's a little strip in there that says it got wet. And my experience was that I dropped an iPhone into a glass of water on purpose on the air. And unfortunately, the genius had seen that. So it's good I didn't lie to him.
Yeah. You're like, I have no idea how this happened.
What happened? I said, I put in a glass of water. Because this is before Apple was claiming it waterproof, by the way. There was a company that was coating it. You'd send it into them and they would coat it. And then they said it was waterproof. It wasn't either for them.
Oh, no.
So don't look, folks. A little splash, a little rain, fine. But you don't want to get any water. There's still holes on this thing. Now, next generation, maybe there won't be any holes. I think there still has to be holes for the speakers, right?
Speakers.
There are screen technologies that let you, and the microphone. Yeah, so there's going to still always be holes in this thing. You can't.
And in the latest marketing, what am I trying to say? In the latest ads, the thing they say in it is oops proof.
Yeah,
they don't call it waterproof.
Careful.
They don't call it dust proof.
Yeah.
It's oops proof.
Depends on how
even then,
wet your oops is.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of oops are we talking about? Big oops, little oops? Anyway. That's it for the news. There wasn't a whole lot this week, but we do have some feedback. Exactly. More than enough. So let's go to feedback. Our first bit of feedback comes from Paul. Paul says, I want to thank Mikah for telling us about using HomePods as TV speakers. I have a pair of HomePods that have been used as glorified doorstops, but since this iOS 14 update, I'm going to pause here to explain, in iOS 14, a new update came around called Home Theater, which gave the Apple TV the ability to pair very closely with the HomePod, unlike it was able to in years past, meaning that it will automatically connect to the HomePod and automatically use it as your speaker output without you having to reconnect it every time. So for Paul here, they were being used as doorstops because of that annoyance of having to reconnect them. But he says, I've paired both as a single stereo speaker to my 65-inch LG OLED TV and Apple TV. Brag about it. The results are sensational. Watching something like The Mandalorian, the sound effects are so much crisper with the Dolby Atmos support, and most new Netflix films are in Dolby Atmos support, or offer Dolby Atmos support, and also are in Dolby Vision. It's a very inexpensive way to add a home theater setup to your TV if you have a pair of HomePods. So yes, I only have one HomePod because when I bought it, and realized that I couldn't pair it with my Apple TV always, I was like, I'm not getting another one of these things. What are you talking about? Stereo pair, who cares? But since this change has happened, it's really been something that I've been considering because I've tried a few sound bars and they don't sound great. And also they have HDMI lag issues that are annoying. There's all this annoyance with it. But the Apple TV and HomePod pairing has been unstoppable thus far in this new way of doing things. So yes, if you have not yet updated to iOS 14 and you have a HomePod, update to iOS 14, update to tvOS 14, make sure your HomePod is updated. And when you do, go check out my video on Hands on iOS where I walk you through the process of setting up the home theater for your HomePod.
This was a big improvement because we had people emailing us saying it disconnects every time. I have to set it up every time. So this was a big improvement and much needed. Well done, Apple. Finally.
Yep. Leanne writes in, I leave my iPhone on silent because I'm constantly getting notifications from my Blink cameras at our office whenever people come and go. I would like to keep the volume on so I can hear it when I get a call, but keep the Blink notification low so it's not so intrusive. Is there a way to set different volume levels for the phone ringer and notifications, or is there a way to set the volume of the notification app by app? So, Leanne, unfortunately, there's not a way to individually adjust the volume of notifications. What you can do is adjust it so that your Ring is one level of volume and all of your notifications are a different level of volume by going into the settings app and then choosing sounds and haptics, and then under ringer and alerts, you will adjust the volume there and make sure that change with buttons is turned off because if you have that turned on, then the volume buttons will bring up and down the sound of those alerts. But to actually adjust the sound of individual notifications app by app, unfortunately, is not something that you can do. So the best you could do is completely mute the Blink notifications by adjusting the notification settings for the Blink app. But to actually change the sound so that it's lower is not possible in iOS.
Good to know. Sorry. And
then the last one comes from Jim. Jim writes, I upgraded my iPhone 10 to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I can't figure out how to get my keyboard to behave like it did on the 10. On the 10, I could hold down on the keyboard and move the cursor/caret to any spot on the text I'm composing. Now when I hold down on the keyboard, it wants to swipe type. How do I get the keyboard to behave like I'm used to? Jim, I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news that is also good news is that I feel for you because I was also annoyed by this change. But the good news is you can still do this. It's just a more focused area. So in iOS of years past, so your iPhone 10 probably had an older version of iOS on it, you could hold down or press into the screen to activate the cursor and move it anywhere you wanted to. Well, in later versions of iOS and in newer versions of the iPhone, Apple has sort of stepped away from Force Touch and 3D Touch, as it used to be called, and Force Press, and are focusing on other technologies instead. And so they've sort of decreased the area in which you can activate the moving of the cursor. Now you need to press and hold on the space bar alone on the keyboard, and that will let you move your cursor around wherever you want it to. But yeah, that took me some getting used to. Muscle memory had to be completely revamped because I loved that sort of trackpad style feature where I could press anywhere in the keyboard area and then move my cursor where I wanted it to. Now, Jim, you just need to press down on the keyboard or on the space bar in your keyboard, and that will let you move your cursor around.
Very nice.
All right. Up next, our app caps. I hear those jingle bells.
My app cap, I think all month I'm going to do app caps celebrating the sound of the season. By the way, I want to thank Rosemary Orchard for filling in for me last week. You guys are such a cute couple. It was so much fun.
Thanks. Isn't she great?
Love Rosemary.
Oh my goodness, Leo, she did something I didn't think was possible. She unseated paprika as my favorite recipe.
I saw. I'm not happy about that. Crouton. Not happy about that. Although I would prefer to eat a crouton than paprika, so.
You know, a crouton with some paprika on it might be nice.
So why are we wearing silly hats? You're wearing a very nice. Did you make that too?
So my partner was very jealous of my
homemade
knit
hat, yeah.
And so I said, "Okay, Sebastian, pick out some yarn that you like, and I will knit you a hat."
For Sebastian?
Yes, I stole it temporarily, so don't tell him.
He has actually better taste than you do because that's much better.
Yeah, I have the old man oatmeal color.
Yeah, yours is oatmeal. His is beautiful.
City Lights. This is called City Lights.
What a good choice.
Like I'm kind of jealous.
So I'm going to look for you two out and about in your matching caps. That's so cute. Your snow caps. It's very cute. I am wearing, of course, an elfin hat. And as I said, for the whole month of December, I shall be wearing festive hats. Unfortunately, they're all Christmas because I haven't yet to be able to find a Festivus hat, a Hanukkah hat, or maybe I can find a Kwanzaa hat.
Ooh, yeah. Kwanzaa hat you might have.
And there's, as far as I know, no such thing as a winter solstice hat. So I'm going to have to go with
make one
with a Santa. Yeah, what would a winter solstice hat look like? I don't know.
Perhaps snowflakes on it.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Something.
Anyway, we're wearing these hats to honor our app picks of the week, the apps that we are using and loving this week and that we want to share with all of you. My app cap this week is called Key by Amazon.
What is it? Oh, Amazon Key. Are you using this?
Yeah, so it starts with a little bit of a story.
You're brave.
And I will be quick. But essentially, for as long as the pandemic has been going on, my apartment complex and the U.S. Postal Service have come to an agreement that they will not take packages and put them in the front desk, and then we go and pick up the packages because you don't want to spread COVID. They don't want to obviously expose their front desk people to as few people as possible. Basically, is what they want. So, what instead happens is when the USPS gets a package that's meant to be delivered to one of us who lives in this townhome apartment complex area, they will give you couldn't deliver this package thing. And then you have to go over to the distribution facility and wait in line with a bunch of other people, which is what we're trying to avoid, and then get your package from there. Well, after a number of packages were lost, and also the idea that you are still exposing yourself to a bunch of people, I was trying to come up with a new way of handling these packages. And I actually contacted Amazon and I said, I know I'm a Prime member, but is there some way that I could pay for delivery and have you not use the U.S. Postal Service to do my delivery, but instead use your Amazon people? Because sometimes they would use their Amazon people. And they said no. And I said, okay. So I was trying to figure out a different way to make this happen. Well, I saw this promo. I've had a Chamberlain smart garage door opener for some time, and basically it works with whatever garage door opener you have, as long as you have one that's made past, I think, 92. And it basically adds Wi-Fi connection to your garage door opener, so you can use an app to open and close the garage door. The notification I got said, hey, if you try Key by Amazon, we'll give you a $30 credit that you can use on Amazon.com. So I thought, okay, interesting. So I ordered a product, and then I had to set up Key by Amazon. So what you do is you open the app, you set up your garage, and then there are all of these things that you have to do so that it is properly set up, including you have to take a photo of the outside of your house or your townhome in my case, and that lets the driver see exactly where your house is. You can give a whole detailed list of instructions on where you live so that they know that. And then you can also take a photo and draw an arrow to say, I want you to deliver my packages in X area. There are a bunch of rules. The Amazon delivery driver is not allowed to enter your garage more than 5 feet. And then they also have it set up that Amazon owns several different security camera companies, including Ring and Blink and a few others. And they have an integration in the app that as soon as the person is making the delivery, it will automatically turn on that camera and start streaming. So you can tap on the notification and see them deliver your package. So there are all these sort of protections in place that I have as well. And so I can always see them, come in, drop off the package in the garage and then leave. But yes, essentially what it does is it gives the person very specific, very temporary access to your garage. They have it on their app. They tap a button, the garage door opens, they drop the package off, they walk out, they tap the button, and the garage door closes, and they no longer have access to your garage after that point. But what this did for me was it made it so that Amazon was the one delivering my packages, and also it resulted in no contact delivery again versus having the Postal Service do it where there was constant contact. So I ended up doing it for that purpose, but this ended up being a really cool system that, on top of being a way to let Amazon deliver your packages directly into your garage where they're safer and locked away, it also works as a way to, if you wanted to share your garage door with your family. So if you had a guest coming or something like that, they can get access to your garage door, tap the button, open it, and close it again afterwards. So Key by Amazon, it's free. Some people, it's not for them. My garage has nothing in it that I would be, concerned about. And then also all of these things, all of these safeguards that they have in place, and the fact that I can see them every time has been helpful. But it's been a safer way to have my packages delivered than having to go to the Postal Service distribution center where there are 12 other angry people usually. Yeah.
I'm going to change my app cap because of your app cap. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll put that, the one I was going to do, I'm going to make it next week. Because I also use something. Here's the funny thing is, I don't use it for Amazon Key because our front porch is fine. They can leave stuff there. We're in a cul-de-sac. There's nobody to hit there. We've never had a package stolen, so I'm not worried about that. And we have, a Ring. Actually, it's not a Ring anymore. The Nest camera on the doorbell, so I can see. And it even says a package was left on the doorstep. Somebody picked up the package, so I feel fairly safe there. But Amazon does offer a garage door opener, or Key works with a garage door opener called My Q. Now, this comes from LiftMaster, and it will work with Amazon Key, but I choose not to use it. However, it is a great door opener. So what we did is we did this as an aftermarket installation that I did myself. We had LiftMaster is owned by Chamberlain, who makes this. We have a LiftMaster door opener anyway. You know, we press a button in the on the fob, and then it'll open the garage door and close it behind you. But I was able to easily add this as an aftermarket thing. This is a Bluetooth device you put on the wall of your garage, and then it comes with a couple of little, actually comes with one little sticky thing that you put on the garage door itself, and it turns out it's kind of really simple. The sticky thing tells you whether the garage door is open or closed because it knows whether it's sideways or up or straight up. So it's just a little sensor, and then it ties into this app on the iPhone, which I'll show you a reel here, called MyQ. Now it's really cool because you can say I want to use the Amazon key and let the Amazon people open my garage door. I've decided not to do that. It is using Face ID now to log me in. And you see we have two garage doors. One is called Big Garage Door. One is called Small Garage Door. But I can, right now, from here, open that garage door. Now, what happens when you open the garage door is this is sending a signal over the internet to that weird little device, which is then sending a signal to my garage door opener to open it. And it was just opened. It even sends a notification saying, Leo just opened the garage door. So family members can have this app and open or close the garage doors, and I'll know who did it. And then I'm going to close the garage door. You see, it's been open for 16 seconds. Same thing, but there is a difference. And it's one of the reasons you have to have this, because as soon as I press that button, a big siren or a big beeping sound goes off, and this light flashes bright. And the reason, I think, is they don't want to squish anybody under the door. So it's an alert that the garage door is now closing. Get out of the way. Now, our garage door has a sensor. If there's somebody there, it's not going to close on them. But it does let you know that the garage door is closing. And now my garage door is closed. Small garage door just closed. So without being at home, I open and close the garage door. You're exactly right. You could tie in an Amazon key. The device itself, it says manufacturer's suggestion retail is $40. I got it for less. I bet you during Black Friday you can get it for less. It was an easy install. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, in fact, Chamberlain has just come out with an updated version of it.
Oh, of course.
It comes in white, and it's a little bit easier to set up because it has Bluetooth LE. So yeah, I did want to mention it because
this was hard to set up.
It's available for $25. Why did that not?
I don't know. You just disappeared.
It was available for $25.
But your garage door is closing, so it's all works out.
So we're all good there.
That's funny.
There
so
we go.
You're using the Amazon Key app, but this also works with the MyQ app. And you don't have to use Amazon. And in fact, that's one of the reasons I like this. I don't give Amazon permission to do this. I don't want them coming in. So you're using this device with Amazon Key.
Yeah, so I use MyQ as the main app for doing the garage door opening. But in order to have Key to do the deliveries, you have to have the Key app. So I just wanted to talk about the Key app, but I'm glad that you talked about this MyQ door.
This is the other side of the
We both have the same one, the black one.
Yeah.
But they came out with a new white one that's $25. And then what's interesting, Leo, is I noticed when I was looking through the camera for deliveries that Amazon clearly has a very close integration with Chamberlain because they've been able to turn off that alarm whenever the door closes. So it happens a lot quicker than it would whenever you do it from the MyQ app.
That's interesting.
The delivery driver
they trigger it with their own Key app. Yeah, and I should mention that while MyQ is free, there are some features that you have to pay a subscription for. But it does work with Amazon Key, but I think you have to be a Prime member for that to be free. And there are other things.
Some of them are.
Yeah, like if you wanted a Google Assistant to work, you actually have to pay for that. Or Amazon Echo to work, you actually have to pay for that, or if this, then that. But it's nice. I mean, there's a lot of third-party features that can be used with this. But frankly, just the app is fine for me, and I love it that I can open and close the garage door. Or better yet, check its status. So if I go to work and I leave the garage door open, I can now see that I left it open, and I can close it. So you don't have to do this with Amazon Key. I don't. You don't actually have to have a camera in there to use Amazon Key, which I think you should.
Correct.
Because, you just want to keep everybody honest. I don't think my Amazon, the problem is Amazon uses a lot of third parties. Probably a good idea to keep an eye on things with a camera. That way they don't feel like, well, I should just, and they do say you should keep the door from your garage to your house locked so that the person can't just open the garage door, come in, wander around, and leave. That's for many reasons.
Exactly. Don't leave anything unlocked.
I didn't enable Key. It makes sense for you. You use it and it solves a problem for you. For me, it wouldn't solve a problem, so I don't use it. But you can still use the garage door opener, which is pretty darn cool. So there, we have a 1-2 punch in our app caps today. MyQ, which you can attach to your garage door, and it works with a lot of existing garage door openers already. You don't have to do any aftermarket thing.
If you have one that has the sensors that run across the front of the garage, then this will work with it. That's how they sort of market it.
Nice.
So if you've got that little tripwire thingy, then your garage door will work with this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll save my other app cap, hint, hint, for next week.
Sounds good.
But that wraps up this episode of iOS Today. That's Mikah Sargent over my left shoulder. He is the guy who hosts Smart Tech Today and co-hosts Tech News Weekly, and of course is on this show every single week on the network. I'm Leo Laporte, and I have something to do with this network. I'm not sure exactly what. but between the two of us, we make iOS Today happen every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern Time, 1600 UTC. If you want to stop by and say hi, there is a live feed you can watch, audio or video, at twit.tv/live. If you're doing that, chat room is open. irc.twit.tv. It's open 24/7, but the people who are watching live are generally in the chat room, so you should go on in there too, irc.twit.tv, and they always are making sure that we're on the straight and narrow. Some good corrections this week. Let's see, what else? You can get on-demand versions of the show at our website, twit.tv/iOS. There's a YouTube channel you can watch there. In either case, the best thing to do is subscribe, because that way you'll get it automatically if you use Pocket Casts or whatever your favorite, or Apple's Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast application is. Just search for iOS Today, subscribe. That way you'll get it automatically the minute it's available of a Tuesday afternoon. Thank you, Sargent.
If you got questions, send those iOS Today at twit.tv.
Yes.
Text is fine, audio, video, under 30 seconds if it's one of those, please. But yeah, iOS Today at twit.tv. Love to answer your cues.
And if you'd like to know more about this M1 Mac, I did do a hands-on tech review of the M1 Mac. I'm also going to talk a little bit more about it on Hands-on Macintosh, our Mac show. So we didn't do a full review of the M1. Suffice to say, awesome. Yeah, everything everybody's saying is true. It really is a swift machine. Nope, can't have it.
Can't get it.
See you next time on iOS Today. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, host at TWiT TV. Got a question for you. Have you gotten tired of how bad your photos are looking every time you post them to Instagram? Better yet, have you gotten yourself a new camera and you can't quite figure out why the images just don't look that good? Well, I have a solution for you. It's my show, Hands-on Photography. Each and every Thursday, I sit down and share different tips and tricks that are going to help make you a better photographer and a better post processor. So subscribe today at twit.tv/hop to learn more.